My wife, 38, and I, 37 male, have been married for 12 years and have 3 kids, tween, pre-tween, and kindergartner. We both work full-time and have the kids in daycare during the summer until school starts up again. We both make decent money, but with the cost of literally everything going up more and more often, our budget is getting tighter. We still live comfortably within our means, but we're saving much less and are becoming more conscious of our discretionary spending. Our youngest is starting kindergarten this fall, which will help because we aren't spending on daycare. But our oldest kids are now in more sports and extracurricular activities, which offset any savings we would be doing on childcare. We aren't anywhere near struggling, but we are definitely more aware of how we spend our money now. My wife's younger sister, Jen, 30, is 6 months pregnant with her 3rd child. Jen is not married, and this is her 3rd different baby daddy. Only one of the first 2 fathers is involved. The other is a complete deadbeat who regularly skips child support payments. Jen recently called my wife and told her that her current baby's dad left her, and she's freaking out and asking for help, whether that be money, a place to stay, or anything. My wife's parents both passed away, and they have no siblings, just each other. So, obviously, my wife wants to do whatever we can to help, but we don't have the space to house them and don't have a lot of extra money to give them either. My wife wants to give Jen a few $100s monthly and start watching her 2 older kids so she can keep working. I think that idea is short-sighted because Jen won't be able to work after the new baby comes. My idea was to dip into savings and pay for a lawyer for Jen to do a better job of getting the child support she's owed. I would rather bite a bigger bullet once than die by 1,000 cuts over months and months. But my wife says that won't help put food on Jenny's table every week. I laid our budget out and asked my wife where we could make cuts to support Jen because I didn't see it. I asked her what she'd be willing to give up or have our kids go without to support Jen. She got mad at me and called me heartless for not wanting to help. It turned into a fight, and I ended up telling her that if she wanted to support her sister like this, she would need to work more or get a second job because I'm not compromising our family budget long term. All of our finances are shared, so it's not like either of us has our own money to use however we want. I also know that my wife and I are the only family Jen has, and I agree that we should help. Adding hundreds or possibly more to our monthly budget isn't going to work. Jen needs more help than we can provide, and she needs to find resources that can do that for her. But my wife thinks I'm being an uncaring idiot about this. Not the idiot. Someone might want to explain to Jen what keeps causing these pregnancies. This is one of those cases where just giving her some monthly help will never solve the problem. I prefer your suggestion of paying for a lawyer so Jen could get paid what's legally owed to her, but Jen's too selfish to change her own behavior. The only money for Jen is for tubal ligation. I could see once, maybe twice, but 3 times and you're out. Pay to have her tubes tied and be done with her. No one helps anyone who continues to make bad decisions, but gets bailed out every time. Also, there's a world of difference between a 20-year-old having a kid when she can't afford it and a 30-year-old doing the same for the 3rd time. Jen should have matured past this crap. Seriously though, sister-in-law is under the impression that she has a safety net. She doesn't. She has her sister and brother-in-law, but they're not an endless resource. I'm certain if she was more concerned with keeping afloat, she'd be on her birth control. Your wife must encourage her sister to apply for every state and federal assistance program to which she's entitled: WIC, SNAP, housing assistance, Medicaid, local utility assistance programs, food banks, religious charities, etc. The state will then begin to pursue each baby daddy legally. Unfortunately, you need to keep a close eye on your finances. Your wife may well try to do an end run around you in order to help. Your kids come first, both in terms of money and time spent. It would be a shame if they had to give up extracurriculars or time with their mother because their Aunt Jen keeps gleefully impaling herself on the worst possible men. Stick to the offer of paying for a lawyer to ensure child support for all of Jen's children. They're responsible for supporting their offspring. We're not close, to start off with. Our relationship has always been full of conflict since we were kids. She's now 26, and I'm 24 female. The invite for her wedding came a few days ago, and it came with a note that said, if I attended, I would not be seated with family during the ceremony or reception, but at one of the tables with all the extra guests. I won't be in any of the wedding photos either. So reading all this, I was like, cool, I'll RSVP now and have a nice day doing my own thing. I have no interest in attending a wedding where I'll be stuck around people I don't know and celebrating someone I don't like, which is exactly what I did. I sent my RSVP back via a link that was listed on the invite. The rest of my family, even seeing the letter she wrote after they confronted me, believe I'm wrong for RSVPing no. Mom said I could have gone to her and Dad, and they would have straightened out the details in the note. My grandparents said I could still enjoy spending time with them and the rest of the family, and my aunt said I would raise a lot of eyebrows by not attending my sister's wedding and would make them all look bad. I told them she clearly didn't want me there. I clearly don't want to be there, so why would I go? They all responded that, as an adult, we all do things we don't want to do, but this is an optional thing, in my opinion. They believe I'm wrong and have argued against my decision. They say I should listen to them and think about my actions. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your family fails to process that the invite was passive-aggressive. I will invite you, but make sure you don't feel welcome. And I'm sorry they seem to think that that was okay for her to do. And yes, as an adult, we all do things we don't want to do. Your family insisting you be made uncomfortable and unwelcome at a family event shouldn't be one of them. Perhaps your sister wouldn't have thought this was okay if they had been better parents and adults. Yes, the sister clearly sent an invitation, but doesn't want to look like the bad guy. I would raise my eyebrows to see the bride's sister shuffled away from the rest of the family like an exile. Close or not, you're still her sister. She sounds quite mean, and if she doesn't even want you in pictures, I wouldn't waste my time on a day to make her feel special. OP, ask them why you're wrong. The answer will be some variation of, because she's your family, in which case she's already given you the perfect comeback. If she's not going to treat you like family, why should you be expected to act like family? Honestly, the dislike is mutual, and she's probably been pressured into sending the invite in the first place. Either that, or she was hoping to rub it in your face. Either way, there are good reasons to stay away. My mom is engaged to Charles, and he and his kids, a young teen male, a female tween, and a younger female tween, moved in with us in February. I, a teen female, am the only one in the household who isn't talking about the wedding nonstop. My mom picked up on this a while ago, and then she overheard me tell my friend I just wanted it to be over and that I wasn't excited for the wedding, so she asked if we could talk. It was a difficult conversation. I told my mom that I wasn't totally happy about the wedding, that it's been difficult for me, with Dad, who died when I was 10, being gone, and some things that have been said. I told her I was so glad she was happy, and I know Charles helped her bring her back to herself. The conversation highlighted that I don't see Charles and his kids as my family, and that I'm unsure if I'll ever consider them that way. Some maybe relevant info to some of my feelings. When Charles and his kids first moved in, he took me out for pizza and told me he doesn't want us to be a blended family. He wanted us to just be a family. And he doesn't want to be my stepdad. He wants to be my dad. He said he would do everything he does for his kids and always be there for me. He said we could start trying some dad names for me to call him. I told him I already had a dad, and the sentiment was nice and all, but I was going to be a stepkid. He challenged me on why I could have only one dad and didn't want another one. It was very uncomfortable for me. He and his kids also tagged along when Mom and I went to remember Dad on his anniversary at the diner we went to as a family. His kids talked nonstop about the wedding, and we didn't actually get to talk about Dad. Then Charles declared we'd make it a family thing every year. And even when Mom was like, let's just see, he was like, it'll be good for bonding. I didn't like that at all. It was the first time I went and did a solo thing to remember Dad because I hated every second of the diner experience. Mom wanted us to explore this in family therapy, and I asked for it to just be her and me. She was going to say no, and then she asked why. I told her I would open up more with just her and a therapist, and that I would rather make sure we're okay than work on trying to bond me to others right now. I told her I could see that she was hurting, that I felt the way I do, and I didn't want our relationship to be ruined by this. Mom agreed for therapy to be just me and her. We start next week, but Charles doesn't like it, that I wanted it to be just Mom and me. I think he was a little offended that I felt this way in the first place, and then didn't want to include him and his kids in family therapy. Mom told him she wished it could be all of us, but she didn't want to push me away or waste money by taking us all if I found it difficult to open up around them. Charles told me I was putting my mom in a bad place, and I was selfish, and he's only ever tried to show me he loves me and will be my dad happily. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Charles needs to back off. He's pushing too hard and is actively hurting everyone. Having his kids present and forcing them to hear everything you say would be cruel and unnecessary. Yeah, Charles needs to learn that not everything is about him. You want to do therapy with your mom because you recognize that something's fundamentally wrong between you, and you need help processing and fixing it. Charles wants to do everything together because he has the skewed idea that he slots right into your life because he's marrying your mom. Honestly, your mom might be the biggest idiot here. She knows Charles is upsetting you, and she's letting it happen. Maybe it's what she also wants. Maybe because it's just easier to give in to what he wants. Oh goodness, another teenager who's going to cause issues for her mother, who's trying to find happiness again with what sounds like a very nice man after being widowed. What have Charles and his kids done to you to cause you to begin to cause chaos? Because that's what you're about to do. None of these people are responsible for your father's death, and your mother sounds like she's found a wonderful life partner and loving stepkids. Please don't be a source of hurt for these folks who are only trying to do right by you. Sorry, you are the idiot. I've been in my stepdaughter Emily's life since she was a young teen, and she's now nearly adult. My God, has it been rough. She's with us 50% of the time, and when she first moved in, we had a whole conversation about how to make this as easy for everyone as possible. If I have an issue, I'll talk to my husband, and he handles all the discipline. This is a double-edged sword. She's as sweet as honey when her dad is there. The moment he's gone, she's an idiot. Her favorite thing for her to do at the moment is ruin my food. If I'm cooking, she'll dump salt into the stew or other things. It's so frustrating, and I haven't been able to catch her. My husband knows and asked about it, but he won't discipline her without proof. So I set up a mini camera in the kitchen. Today I made her cake. Her birthday's in a week, but I was going to surprise her before she returned to her mom. I put them in the oven, and she went over, took them out, and dumped a ton of salt on top of it. I threw them out and told her that was her birthday cake, and now she's not getting a cake from me. She tells her father I messed up the cake and won't fix it for her. He came home angry at me, and I showed him the video. He's even now more angry that I filmed the house, even though this has been a problem for a while, and he wouldn't do anything. Everyone's calling me a jerk, and I don't know now. Should I remake the cake? Edit. I seriously thought I was going insane. Every time I made something, it would be wrong. Really, the camera was for my sanity. Not the idiot. You could have handled it better. Serve the cake and show the video simultaneously. I would divorce over this. Father and daughter are not ready for a relationship with another person, which will cost you your sanity. She's nearly an adult. She's too old for this nonsense. Ruining a cake that someone was baking for you, and then whining about the natural consequences of not having a cake, is ridiculous behavior for someone so close to being an adult. Your husband is the idiot encouraging this nonsense. He's free to bake a cake himself if he thinks it's warranted. Turn the camera off and don't lift a finger to cook the next time she's in the house. Feed yourself only. They'll soon get the message. OP, your husband is angry because now he's expected to address an issue. Before, it didn't impact him at all. You got stuck with it. If you didn't have evidence, he could just keep ignoring everything. So of course you'll be angry with the cameras and not the wrongdoing. He literally doesn't care what you have to deal with, as long as it doesn't impact him. If this is how he'll react to evidence of the wrongdoing, I'd be packing up and staying with my family or friends. If he doesn't support or respect you, he's not worth it. And don't remake the cake. That's not your problem. You didn't cause this. Let her make her own replacement cake. About 2 years ago, my 25 female friend Sarah, 29 female, had a strawberry-sized lesion on her thigh, which is about 1 inch, and it turned out to be early-stage skin cancer. All they did back then was excise it under local anesthesia, and they told her it was over, and she doesn't have it anymore. Today I was with her and a mutual friend. Our mutual friend has recurrent abdominal pain, and he will do an exploratory laparotomy to know the cause. He kept talking about how scared he is, and then Sarah came and threw the cancer card. She started talking about how she survived cancer and how it destroyed her life, and he'll be fine, and she understands how he feels, etc. I snapped at her and told her it was misleading to call herself a cancer survivor because what she had back then was almost nothing and just a lesion on her skin. And when people hear the word cancer survivor, they would think about someone who took chemotherapy and almost died because of it. But in her case, it was nothing, just a removal with a small incision in the clinic. I thought others would have my back, but they said that I was an idiot, and that left me wondering, did I say something wrong? Not the idiot. She could talk about the scare, the emotions, her journey, and how she felt about it all. But to call it survival? Someone who truly survived cancer would probably raise their eyebrows to this. Cancer is not something desirable or a light topic to talk about, so I really think your friend that has the back pain needs your unconditional love and support, not someone else's story and proclaiming everything's going to be okay. Unfortunately, not the friend, not you, not even Sarah can know that. So, I had cancer a few years back. I had a total hysterectomy, but never had to do anything else. However, it was very close to becoming metastasized. It was an outpatient procedure. Am I a cancer survivor or not? I usually tell people that I didn't have a battle with cancer. It was more of a tiff. You are the idiot. Are you seriously gatekeeping cancer? Just a lesion on the skin? You need to do some reading about melanoma. She had it. She was diagnosed with it. She's the one who went through that. Went through a doctor telling her that yes, she has the dreaded C-word diagnosis that changes lives and often ends them. It doesn't matter if you think it wasn't a big deal. You don't get to decide whether her experience and diagnosis were legitimate enough to call herself anything.